Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where transformation meets timeless wisdom. Tonight, we are honored to have with us Donna Hartley, international speaker, world renowned past life reader, and author of The Fire of Trilogy. Featured on major networks and celebrated for her extraordinary resilience, Donna brings light to the unseen layers of our soul's journey. Today, we'll explore how healing past life patterns can release deep emotional cycles and unlock freedom in this lifetime. Welcome to the show, Donna. It's such an honor to have you.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Mhm. So, Donna, your story is remarkable. What first led you to discover the connection between our current struggles and past life experiences?
Well, our past lives, first of all, you have to believe that you have past lives, and we do. We all have hundreds and hundreds of past lives. So we drag in from a past life patterns that we didn't finish. I mean, even look at this life. You can't get everything done in one life that you want. You also drag or bring in gifts that you have. So understand the most important life is the one you're living right now. But to understand those patterns that you brought in, that will make the difference. So let me just tell you a short little story about me, and you'll understand a health issue that I brought in this life. And you'll even understand what name, my last name, goes with the health issue. So I had three heart surgeries in this life. Okay. I am active, I am healthy, but I was born with a bad valve. So I had the first one at 16, the next one in my 50s, and then in the pandemic, I had to have another heart surgery, always to replace my aortic valve. Now, I'm a past life reader. I go back to the past, but I only go to the past to find the pattern to heal now. So I saw myself in a lifetime back in the Middle Ages, back in that, English, Irish kind of countryside, and I was an urchin, I didn't have any money, I didn't see parents, I looked grubby, I stole food, and the lord of the land saw me, and he came through town, he sent a lady, she cleaned me all up, beautiful dress, beautiful green cape. I had a one room, I had a home, I had a food, I had a table, I had a bed. So I became his mistress. You know, I was in the survival mode and it worked wonderful for years. I was taken care of and I had food. And then I got pregnant and I told him he must leave his wife, for me. He didn't say anything. Told him again he must leave his wife. I'm pregnant. Again, again, again. He said nothing. Then I lost the child. I lost the child, but I continued to lie to him. I didn't tell him the truth. So he sent a henchman, two of them. They got off their horses. I was walking in the village and they stabbed me right in my aortic valve, my heart. And I fell to the gutter and I died. But I died with anger, betrayal. I wasn't worth it. How could you do that? All those things just got locked in when I died. So I was going to have to come back another life sometime to do that. So that's what this life is about. I went through three heart surgeries, but once I saw that, I had to forgive myself for lying, for cheating, betrayal. So I had to be honest, took a little crying, had to forgive the Lord of the land for betraying me. I had to forgive the henchmen for killing me. I had to forgive the village people because they just let my body lie there and rot for days before they threw me in a grave. But now when I go to the heart doctor, my doctor says, your heart is improved so much. It's like went 10 years back. It's so strong. See, they could do the work that they needed to in this life. I had excellent doctors, but I had to heal those wounds inside of me. And I think a lot of us carry those wounds and we don't know. We have to go in, we have to forgive ourselves first, then the other people. So sometimes the sickness comes from another lifetime and we have to go in. Sometimes you can do it through a dream. Sometimes you can ask your higher self. Sometimes you have to go to a past life reader. But to heal all of that makes a difference. So that's when you say, what are those past life patterns that show up, and how do we heal ourselves? There's an answer right there. And by the way, my last name is Hartley. Hartley. Can you believe it? I already had that mission when I was born.
That's so fascinating. And also, was there a personal moment or revelation that confirmed this connection for you?
Okay. Well, when I was 6 years old, I it was tough. I had a tough life coming up. I had malnutrition in the hospital because I didn't have enough to eat. So at that time, I crossed over and I said, I don't want to stay on this earth. But they showed me what would happen to my mother, my father, and my brother. And so I said, I'll come back, but I need to see a little bit of the future and a little bit of the past. That was the agreement. And then at 16, I had my first heart surgery and I came out of my body and I saw how they were working on that and almost lost me. But this was the moment. Let me see if I can bring this up. And can you see this? Yes. I was at 30 years old, the last survivor on this DC-10 plane crash. It was leaving LAX and it was going to Hawaii. And at that moment, I had that near death, what they talk about, white light experience. And there's like a voice that goes through it. You kind of hear it. And it said, ask me these questions. So I'll ask your listeners also. Do you love yourself? I answered, no. Do you love your family and friends? And show them and tell them. And I thought, no, not really. Are you living your goals and dreams? Nope. And if you die today, have you left this planet a better place for being here? And I said, no. I was a Hollywood actress. I was struggling. I was thinking about suicide. I was such a failure. And at that moment of that near death experience, then I got the assignment. They said, you will write, you will speak, and you will help people help themselves. Now, I didn't know what that meant at the time. Help people help themselves. I'm an international speaker and I have books out and I do past life readings. Now, if you'd have told me at that moment that that was what I was going to do, I just said, I accept the assignment, not knowing exactly. But after going through that plane crash and seeing people die, I had to have a purpose. So that was my purpose. That's how it started. A little bit more dramatic, but I'm Irish, I'm a little red hair. And so, I was a little stubborn. So I got it. I got the message.
Hmm. Yeah, and that insight really opens the door to understanding our pain not as punishment, but as a pathway to evolution.
Right. It wasn't a punishment for me, it was an enlightenment. You're right on. And I think people think when something happens to them, they go, oh, that's terrible. And that's where the issues start. When something happens to you, many times the higher energy is aligning you on this earth to take another path. And people don't want to. So, and there's also 3 times. So there's called Saturn return, and everybody goes through it. Men, women, doesn't matter what country. So about 27 to 31, if you are not on your path, then something traumatic or, you have a divorce, someone dies in the family, you get sick. But if you're on your path, things start to, open up and flow. That's when my plane crash came. Now, it happens again in about 54, 56 to about 61. Well, I had stage 3 melanoma and I had open heart surgery. See, I needed a little bit more refining also. I needed to get more on my path. Okay. And if you live again to 84 to 90, let's hope we're enlightened by then and we've gotten out of our ego's way and we can help people and be, a positive influence for our friends, our family, and for this earth. So I look at those stages and say, I don't want to hit that wall again. I want to make sure I've raised my energy. I'm positive. Now, we're always not going to be right about things, but listen, be positive, be a light worker. By a light worker, that means anywhere you go, you want the situation to be more positive because you're there. You don't have to say that much either sometimes, but we need more positive energy on the planet now. So start with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And also, when someone feels stuck in repeating emotional or relational patterns, how can they recognize if it might be rooted in past life?
That's correct. That's correct. And many people are stuck because they don't want to really look at the relationships they're in. Okay. First of all, your body and your heart will tell you. So if you're depressed, something's wrong. If you're sick a lot, something's wrong. If you have no energy, something is wrong. Okay. So it's those negative energies are holding you back. But again, people will settle for something that's even bad, then go out and go to a new energy. So these are some of the positive things they can do. Once they say, my heart feels heavy, my gut's telling me, I don't feel good. Number one, meditate. Now people go, meditate, excuse me. I'm not good at this. I can't do it. But just look at 3 times a week, 20 minutes each time. Now, and if you fall asleep, who cares? Okay. Because you're slowing the brain and everything down and you're going in for the answers. So I set my intentions. I say, I'm in this relationship. I don't feel good. This is what you could say to yourself, your own words. Give me a sign. Show me what I should do. Okay. So meditate. You have 168 hours every week. 1 hour is all it takes. 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. That's one thing. That's how you can find out if you're in that bad relationship. Number two, trust your intuition. That's that gut. That's that heart. That's when you're getting sick. Listen to it. Listen to it. Next one, the junk food. When you eat junk food, it slows the brain down and it can't work and it's not clear. And you lose that leadership that you have inside of you. You lose that get up and go. So you got to look at labels, the back of them, and read those sugars. But they come in grams in the United States. Okay. So 5 grams, 1 teaspoon of sugar. So if you have something and it says 25 grams, that's 5 teaspoons of sugar. So there goes your brain. You get tired, you can't think. The other thing, go outside in nature. The Native Americans, the indigenous people did that. Walk on the grass, walk on the dirt, go to the water and breathe the fresh air. I don't care if it's cold outside, warm, that realigns you. And the last thing I would say to people that are in a bad relationship, start to look at the things that you want in your life and you want to be grateful for. So if you're not getting that in that relationship, if you're not getting the communication, so what you want to start with, I love myself. I respect myself. These are the things I want. Honest communication, friendship, whatever. If you're not getting that, then you have to look at that relationship. It takes some energy and some focus and some guts. Hopefully you have some friends you can talk to that help you guide you out of that toxic relationship. But you're right. A lot of people stay stuck and they don't talk to anyone. So I'm saying open up. First, be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And are there signs or sensations that typically hint towards unresolved karmic energy?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes we have a family karmic connection that can go back 7 generations, and you decide that you are going to heal it in this lifetime. Okay. So that is a karmic one. So, what are the signs? So, for example, I should have seen it for me, for my heart. My mother, my father, my stepfather, my grandmother, my aunt, my uncles, my cousins died of heart disease. I was the one that took it on and did the research and had the surgeries and stopped the energy. So people say, what is that karmic energy? How does it come in? But you know what? It takes that honesty. It takes work. When you go to bed at night, ask if there's anything for your highest good, always say highest good, that I need to clear up in my life. Then what happens, unfortunately, that person that's gonna aggravate you, okay, and show you that you don't have patience, they show up and you go, "But I don't like this. I don't like this," right? But you've asked to clear up that karmic. So watch, because some people say, "Well, I had that pattern with my mother. Then I had it with my boss. Then I had it with my husband." So you gotta look at that pattern, because what's the common denominator? You. And I'm not saying all those people were bad, but they came in their life to show you a pattern that you can get rid of. So whether it's patience, whether it's anger, whether it's judgment, and those will keep showing up until you overcome the pattern. Do you have a pattern that you have to work on? Now
I'm
she's thinking, okay,
yeah,
did something show up?
I'm
Go ahead.
yeah, I'm not like a constant pattern that I keep doing.
Yes, a pattern that you keep doing. And sometimes we aren't aware for a while. And then you go, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for years and I didn't even know that I was doing this. So, do you have one you know?
I feel like I make plans but I never follow through.
Ah, there you go. That's your pattern. So, just so you know, and see when we're honest, that's going to happen. So, how do you lick that pattern? Because people do that too. They have an intuitive flash and then they have to take action and they don't do it. So, when that's, if that happened for me, something like that, what I did is I have big wall calendar. I put all the events on there that I have to do, and the personal events I have to do, and I write them on another calendar, but I put them on a sticky note to remind me. Now, if my gut says I don't want to do it, I don't. But sometimes you go, I don't want to follow through. I'm too tired. I don't want to do it. So, like last night, I go to line dancing, the country western. And I thought, "Do I wanna get in the car and drive a half an hour?" And I went, "No. But do I wanna go to line dancing? Yes. Did I say I was gonna go? Yes." So I really encourage myself to follow through. So I do a little checklist. So run a checklist and see the ones you check off that you did that week, and then see the ones you didn't do. And then next week, try to do more when you set plans. Yes, things change, okay? But that is a pattern for a lot of people that they don't follow through. I have I I am one of those when I say it, they know I'm gonna be there. They know I'm gonna be on time. They know I'm a commitment unless I call and cancel. So, there you go. You got a pattern, make your checklist, follow through, and say then when the event comes up, "Is it for my highest good? Do I wanna go? Do I wanna do this?" So that's what I always ask, but there's your pattern.
Yeah. And it's also fascinating how our soul keeps sending us messages until we finally choose to listen.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the part of humans. We get stuck. We don't want to listen. Look at me. I had to go through a plane crash to get the message that I wasn't supposed to be an actress in Hollywood. I was struggling. I was miserable. I was sick. But what I was doing, this is the good part. I meditated. I went to a spiritual ashram. I read books. So I was starting to get the pieces in my life that might work, but I didn't have them all together until the crash came. And you know what? I changed in seconds my mindset. Now, the life on the outside took 2, 3 years to change, but I got on a new path. So I'm saying to your listeners, don't go through a crash to get on your path. Okay. Because life is hitting you. They're giving you signals all the time. I hear people say, "Oh, well, that is interesting, but I didn't think of doing that." And then they don't do it. So you gotta have that energy to follow through. And you know what? You gotta have fun. You gotta follow through with joy. If life is not fun, you have to say, okay, I need to reevaluate this. So we go in, that's the quiet time. And then we can go out and bring that joy to ourselves and other people. But there's a lot of quiet time. I do quiet time. Okay.
hmm Yeah, 100%. And also, many people feel skeptical about past lives. How do you bridge the gap between spiritual insights and practical healing?
Okay. So everybody's kind of fascinated with past lives now. Okay. What happened in that life happened. You have to forgive yourself for what you did in that life because people go, oh, I don't want to hear about a past life. What if I've done something bad? Right? Well, we've all done good things and we've all done bad things. It's don't judge it. But when it comes up in this life, okay, like when you meet someone, have you met someone and you felt like you knew them before? Or there was like
Not
a
yet.
not
Not
yet. Okay, you're too young, but you'll get there. Because sometimes we feel we meet someone and we go, "Oh, he's perfect. I must be with him. I must marry him." And that's not the deal. He's somebody from another life, and maybe you were married to him in another life, but you're not meant to marry him in this life. You're only meant to kind of pass ways and be friends. So deciding that, because if you force that relationship, guess what? It's going to blow up in your face. You're going to get sick. See what I mean? You're going to get sick. You're going to be unhappy. You're going to get depressed if you're forcing it. But sometimes that's learning lessons. And I will say for a lot of women on the planet now, in many countries, many, many generations, we didn't have a voice. We couldn't say what we wanted. And in this life, we're having a voice. We can have a career outside of the home. So to be held down again doesn't work. So we have to look at a life where we have equal in relationships, whether that's work, whether that's a partner in life, whatever, that we have a voice, because that's very important on the planet now, that people are speaking the honest truth, not controlling, but the honest truth. Because when you're controlled by someone else, you start to get sick. Okay, because you allowed it. And then you get mad at yourself. Then you get depressed. So the question is, look at the relationships you surround yourself with. Yeah, and you do know people, but doesn't mean you have to be with them in this life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. Also, because I feel like my parents always believe that they know each other since the past life,
Mhm.
and they have a lot of reasonings they have always given me throughout my life that maybe they were a couple but they were not married in the previous life, and now they finally got the chance to get married,
Mm.
and they have a lot of reasoning for it, and I genuinely believe in it.
Right.
So this makes a lot of sense to me now.
Yeah. So you're right on. You're right on. Because maybe in another life, their families weren't aligned. They couldn't marry, right? For whatever reasons, or they were a different religion, right? So they loved each other, but it was held apart. And in this life, they can. I had a couple that I met that were in World War One, and he was a medic, and she was like a nurse. And he got shot, and she nursed him back to life, and he made it. And then he got the during World War One the flu, the Spanish flu, and he died. So they never married. In this life, they met again. She was married and divorced. He got sick in this life. She healed him. He was fine. He went back to work. Then he got COVID. But she would not leave his bedside in the hospital, and he recovered because she was going to get married and stayed with him, and they worked it out. See what I'm saying? Sometimes it won't be easy, right? They have to go through some of that, but it worked out, and they're married and they're moving on with their life, and they can fulfill what they couldn't in another lifetime. So you're right on with that when you said that. Yes, believe in it, but you have to make sure it's not just that fantasy or a fascination or a connection, because maybe you are meant to be with them and maybe you aren't. That's where you have to trust your intuition.
Yeah, makes sense. So, what an enlightening journey through the soul's memory. Donna Hartley reminds us that healing doesn't always begin here, it continues here. Every moment is a chance to release the past and rise higher in consciousness. So, if something feels right, familiar, maybe it's your soul asking you to finally set it free.
Oh,
Thank
that
you
was
so much.
good.
This was amazing.
Do you want me to end with something like a quote or something here? Is we getting at that time? Or what did you just ask at the end?
Hmm? No, I was just like doing an outro, but sure, if you want to end with a quote, that works.
Okay, so what I say for a quote is that you were given this day. Be grateful for the day and don't focus on whether it's bad or it's good, but focus on how you can carry the light and enjoy the day, even if it's raining, even if work doesn't go good, even if a relationship doesn't work out that day. You were given that day. I mean, that was my wake up call in the plane crash to say, I saw people burn to death in the plane crash. And I said, I have one more day to make it right. So, no fear. Fear not. Keep going forward with your life.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Rana.
Okay. And if people want to contact me, I've got a website. So that's under my name, Donna Hartley. You'll remember all those, Hartley, all those surgeries I've had. So that's Hartley. And if you see a plane crash on the top, okay, you're there. And I've got a section on past lives there. I have videos and I have articles that people can read to help them. And if they want to meditate, there's a free meditation on the homepage. You go to Hawaii and you're at the ocean. When I went to college, I was in Hawaii, and I also am a former Miss Hawaii when I lived there. So this is where I used to surf at Diamond Head. So it's beautiful. You hear the waves, you hear me talking. So it's a fun thing to do.
Perfect. That's amazing. So, Donna, it was such a pleasure to have you. I personally really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you so much. It was my honor to be on your show. And I wish you the best of luck and always carry the light. You got a lot of good energy in your face and your eyes. So continue that.
Thank you so much. Also, if you could just go on Podmatch and mark this interview as completed, and if you could leave me a review, that'd be great.
Okay. What did you want to say about closing?
Yeah, I just said that if you could go on Podmatch and mark this interview as completed,
Okay.
and if you could leave me a review, that will be great.
Okay. I'll mark it completed. And then I get the review comes up right after completed, right?
Yeah,
Then I can review. I can do that. Okay. So are you done with interviews for the day or do you have more?
I think I have one more to go.
Okay. All right. All right. I wish you the best. How old are you?
I am 19.
Oh my gosh. You're so young and you're outgoing. How wonderful. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.